What's poppin', homies? It's your favorite homegirl gospel. Let's get into this commentary. Hey, homies. So I did a lot of reading about this mass shooter, Salvador Ramos, and I still have some questions that I haven't seen the answers for, but I'm gonna still keep, searching and everything. But I did want to come to you and talk about what I found so far. And I'm not sure if you guys read it or not, but I'm here to talk about it with you. Now, the count of the children and adults has went up. The last time I read, it went from 14 to 19 children and 2 adults. I also read somewhere where it was 21 children and 2 adults. So, what do we know about Salvador? Okay, what do we know about Salvador Ramos? Who was Salvador's parents? Who was his grandparents? Who was his family members? Did anyone see a sign of his actions? He turned 18 years old when he bought the guns. He was on Instagram. He tagged somebody, a random stranger, in a conversation about, his guns, and he wanted to share a secret with her. And she said she don't even know him. And she don't even live in Texas. So what's really going on with Salvador? Let's get into that. So Salvador was a failing high school student, and he was a loner with an aggressive streak who was bullied for being poor and mocked for wearing eyeliner. Now this is what the article is saying. Now, that is how a former classmate and colleagues have described the evil killer, 18, who slaughtered at least 19 innocent children in the second deadliest school shooting in America history in Uvalde, Texas, on Tuesday before shot dead in a shootout with a border patrol officer. Now, described by one pupil, he was described as an emo, okay? His lips also made him a target, according to the Washington Post, with classmates claiming he endured gay slurs. Another said he was mocked for his clothing. A former classmate who asked not to be identified told CNN he and Ramos were somewhat close and used to play Xbox together. The killer was a fan of the shooting and combat game called Call of Duty. On his since-removed Instagram account, Ramos is believed to share a photo of 2 AR-15 style rifles just 3 days before the killing at Robb Elementary School. While the bio on his TikTok page read, "Kids be scared, IRL," which means in real life. So kids be scared, IRL, meaning in real life. While the motives of the massacre is not yet known, one neighbor told the local news channel that he witnessed Ramos, who worked at Wendy's, arguing with his grandmother, claiming he was angry that he did not graduate. Well, honey, if you didn't graduate, that's your own fault. But we also got to talk about the bullying. Now, I'm not saying that because he was bullied, this is what his actions supposed to be, or this is why he did it. No. First of all, he was bullied while he didn't report it to anybody in the school. The kids, the high school people knew he was being bullied. Okay, somebody else had to know he was being bullied. Maybe the teachers. Kids can be really cruel. And when you're in high school and you're different, you talk different, you look different, you don't have the freshest clothes or the dopest clothes, they will bully you. Okay? But it's a way to handle that bullying. It's either you and the bully have a fight, stand up for yourself and beat the bully's ass. You take it out on a bully. Okay? You don't go around and take it out on elementary school kids who has nothing to do with you being bullied at all. Why would you want to shoot up an elementary school? Why would you want to kill children that has nothing to do with you in any way. They didn't bully you. They didn't bully you. You went to U4 High School, and I hope I'm saying the name right. The kids at the high school bullied you. So that's where your problem is at. Okay, and I'm not saying that he should have shot up the U4 High School. I'm not saying that either, because no, this shouldn't happen anywhere to anybody. But you handle the problem with the bully. You just can't go around buying guns as soon as you turn 18 years old and decide, okay, I'm going to show you. And you go shoot up a school that you slaughter children. You leave parents in pain because of your actions, because what you're dealing with. He should have told somebody at that school. If they didn't do anything about it, he should have went to the police. He should have talked to somebody. But then again, would anybody have believed him? See, bullies need to take responsibility as well. Bullies need to be held accountable, because every time somebody bullies somebody, one or two things happen. Either they take their anger out and shoot up a school, or shoot up the school they go to, because that's where the bully is, or this happens where innocent children are slaughtered. Okay? Or another thing is they end up committing suicide. See, bullies need to be held accountable for their actions as well. What is the point of you bullying him? If you don't like anybody, if you don't like him, or you don't like somebody, why would you bully that person? You don't know what that person's mental state is like. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're going to do. What if this kid, what if Salvador, okay, what if he didn't do any of this? And that bullied him, or the kids bullied him to the point where he started picking one by one off and murdering them. Then it would have been a total different situation, right? Oh, well, you know, my child is... Parents, talk to your children about bullying people. Because we don't know what type of people we are surrounded by anyway. And bullying can lead to a whole lot of different things. And unfortunately, it led to him doing this to the school. I feel that Salvador Ramos has some pent up anger about something else as well. See what I'm saying? He didn't like his living conditions, maybe because he didn't have all the finer things. When he worked at Wendy's, he was alone and he didn't really talk to nobody. He went out of his way to be alone. Okay? He went out of his way to be alone. Now, the fact that he's arguing with his grandmother about because he didn't graduate, that's on him. He dropped out of school, and they say because of the bullying. But he could have did online schooling. He could have found a way to get his work done so he could graduate. So Salvador can't blame everything on people. He's old enough to take responsibility for his actions as well. How long was he planning this? We don't know. We don't know the exact motive behind this. But bullying is part of it. But he took out his anger and aggression on the wrong school. Why would you want to shoot up a school that has nothing to do with you? Why? That's like the case with a girl talking about she hate Mondays. And she went to school she shot up at school. That has nothing to do with the school because you hate Mondays. It's just this is just ridiculous. So let me just talk about it further. He said the grandmother then screamed, he shot me, before Ramos zoomed down the street and crashed his car before embarking on his killing spree, which also counted too much love teachers, bringing the death to a total of 21. So basically, there were 19 students in total that were killed by Salvador Ramos, and 2 teachers as well. So he was arguing with his grandmother at Wendy's because he didn't graduate, and the grandmother started screaming, "He shot me, he shot me." He took off, down the street, and he crashed his car. Now, according to the Post, the shooting took place the day after his classmates had graduated. His grandmother has reportedly survived, but she was critically injured, reported by the news. His neighbor, Ruben Flores, who's 41 years old, said he had a pretty rough life with his mother and that he had tried to be a father figure to the teen. So this kid has issues all the way around. His class is graduating. He didn't graduate. He was mad at his grandmother. He shot his grandmother. He just mad at the world at this point. Whatever his life was like, he is just mad. He is just angry and mad. And he's taking his anger and aggression out on everybody. He was spiraling out of control. And when he turned 18, it was legal for him to purchase those guns. And he purchased those guns and he did what he did. This is a lot. This is a lot. The neighbor next door named Ruben said he had a pretty rough life with his mother and that he tried to be a father figure to the teen. He claimed to the Post that police had previously visited his maternal home on Hood Street and that the troubled youth argued often with his mother before moving to his grandmother's house across town for a few months. Now, meanwhile, his co-workers at Wendy's told a news article that he had an aggressive streak and would send inappropriate messages to female employees. They also branded him quiet and antisocial. One employee said he would be very rude towards the girls sometimes and one of the cooks, threatening them by asking, "Do you know who I am?" Jeez. And he will also send inappropriate texts to the ladies. The same source claimed that there were multiple videos of Ramos fighting people with boxing gloves at a local park. He take them around with him, they claimed. In the hours leading up to the killings, the shooter reportedly showed off his guns to an LA-based woman through his Instagram page, taunting that he was about to do something. So, like I said, he was sending inappropriate messages to the girls at work. All right? And he also said, "Do you know who I am?" Okay? That's what he said to the girl. "Do you know who I am?" And that's disturbing. That's very disturbing. And then you go tag a stranger who lives in LA, a woman, taunting that he was about to do something. But my thing is, I really wish the woman in LA would have saw that and called the police. See, now that's what we have to start doing. If we see something weird on Instagram or we know that something is not right, call your local police and say, "Listen, there's somebody on Instagram posting stuff." Get to that person. They don't have to know you called, because you could save a life. And it's bad that it has come to this kind of situation. You can't enjoy social media these days because somebody is always posting stuff. And what we do, we look at it and be like, whatever. We ignore it, and then something happens, and then we like, "Oh my God, that person did post that. Damn, why did I didn't think of doing something? Or why didn't I call the police?" Because you didn't think he was going to do anything. So you can't beat yourself up about it. But it's at the point now that when you see weird stuff, we got to do something. We got to report it some kind of way. Now, when the woman asked, what he was about to do, he said, "I'll tell you before 11. He began shooting at noon. As soon as he made the entry into the school, he started shooting children, teachers, whoever was in his way. He was shooting everybody. The Texas Department of Public Safety spokesperson, Christopher, said, to the news, "This is just evil. I'm afraid I'm going to know a lot of these kids that were killed." And this was said by a Uvalde resident. Another local, told the same paper that his nephew had been in a classroom near where the shooting took place. He actually witnessed his little friend get shot in the face. Jesus, have mercy. Whew. The friend, he said, got shot in the nose and he just went down, and my nephew was devastated. Speaking anonymously, one classmate said Ramos had begun showing up to class less and less as other kids bullied him over his clothes and his financial situation. He would not go to school. He would just slowly drop out. He barely came to school, the friend said. Now, after the North Dakota native graduated from high school, the friends said they became even more distant from each other, but would occasionally message each other on Xbox. He would message me here and there, he said. 4 days prior to Tuesday's shooting, Ramos reportedly sent his friend a picture of the AR and a backpack full of, rounds. He had probably 7 magazines, he said. I was like, "Bro, why do you have this?" And he was like, "Don't worry about it." His social media was filled with new rifles, which he purchased on his 18th birthday. The school shooter, who originates from North Dakota and had recently moved to Texas, had reportedly bought 2 rifles on his 18th birthday, which was days ago. Under a new Texan law passed in September, those aged 18 to 21 could buy guns if they had a protective order because they were at risk of family violence, stalking, prostitution, or sex trafficking. So what did he tell the people when he went to go buy the gun? Was he being bullied? Was he in fear for his life? There's stipulations from what I read that he would be able to buy the gun. But what did he tell them in order to get these guns? The law also removed the requirement for a permit for a handgun. Rifles were already permitted in Texas without a license. In the days leading up to the massacre, Ramos told his friends that he looked very different now. "You wouldn't recognize me," he messaged us a week ago. Ramos' social media was full of pictures of his new guns, which he bought on his 18th birthday. Ramos also messaged a Los Angeles-based woman on May 12th on Instagram, tagging her in a photo of the guns. "You gonna repost my gun pics?" That's what he messaged her. "What your gun pics have to do with me?" she replied. "Just wanted to tag you," he said back. Then at 5:43 a.m. on Tuesday, Salvador messaged her and said, "I'm about to." The girl asked, "About to do what?" To which he did answer, "I'll tell you before 11 o'clock. He said he would text her in an hour and urge her to respond. "I got a little secret I want to tell you," he messaged with a smiley face emoji covering his mouth. "Be grateful I tagged you," he wrote. She replied, "No, it's just scary. I barely know you and you tagged me in a picture with some guns." His last message at 9:16 a.m. on Tuesday was, "I'ma air out." The shooting started at around 11:32 a.m. The woman reacted with horror when she learned what he had done. He's a stranger. I know nothing about him. And he decided to tag me in his gun pics. I'm so sorry for the victims and their families. I really don't know what to say. Jesus Christ. This kid he was off the chain. In his mind, he had stuff going on. He had stuff going on with his family. You know, he didn't have the best clothing. But still, all of that doesn't give you a right to walk into an elementary school and do what you did. She then added, the only reason why I responded to him because I was afraid of him. I wish I stayed awake to at least try to convince him not to commit his crime. I didn't know. When an Instagram user asked if she was his girlfriend, she replied, I don't know him and I don't even live in Texas. He largely dropped out and took the job at Wendy's, where co-workers remember him as quiet. Now, Adrian Mendez, the evening manager at Wendy's, said Ramos kept to himself mostly. He felt like the quiet type, the one who doesn't say much. He didn't really socialize with other employees. He just worked, got paid, and came in to get his check. Mendez said he did not know Ramos well. He was already employed when Mendez began in February, and he didn't see him most of the time because they worked on different shifts. Ramos worked from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. 5 days a week. Now, Ramos was shot and killed by law enforcement at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, after he murdered 21 people. It's a shame. It is a shame that this stuff is happening. And like I said, you have to be mindful these days of people because you don't know what type of mental state they are in. He was in high school. He got bullied. He got talked about, But that doesn't give you a reason to kill innocent children. Robb Elementary School had nothing to do with him being bullied. That school didn't even connect with him. It had nothing to do with him. So why would you go inside of a elementary school and do this? Why? I'm going to look up some more things on this because I want to know more about his home life. That's what I want to know. I want to know who his father is, who his mom is. He was staying with his grandmother. He was mad because he didn't graduate, and he even shot her. So she was, injured, but she's okay. And also it says here, the hero girl was shot dead as she tried to call 911. Two boys and 4 girls are his first victims, and they were identified. This is so horrible. These beautiful children. This stuff happened to these beautiful kids. They had nothing to do with him at all in his situation. My goodness. These poor children. All right, you guys. I'm going to continue to do some more research on this, and I will get back with you later. But just continue to keep your prayers and thoughts to the families, the victims' families. I send my love and prayers and condolences to everyone who's affected by this. Because this is horrible. This is horrible. I'll talk to you guys later.